On your marks. Get set.
What the opposition is. Security and just know what our position is. More than conquerors, so say no longer rulers. No more flight, but we fight faithfully for the future. We win.
Welcome back to Bench Perspective, everybody. Our perspective, your perspective. This is Bench Perspective. As you can see, we have a guest with us. We have our first guest, Ashley Parks. Give it up for Ashley Parks. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Ashley Parks she went to Miles College.
Go Bears.
She played basketball there. She ran track there. She's fast and she can hoop. I met her at Jacksonville State University, JSU, where she went to grad school. She's a middle school science teacher, athletic director and head coach for St. Barnabas Middle School for the boys and the girls.
Go Raiders.
She's a minister who works with the outreach and youth department. And finally, but definitely not least, she's a wife and mother of 3 beautiful children. Let's give it up for Ashley Parks, y'all.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Before we begin, I'd like to address the Walking Dead fans. And Carl's gone. Can we please have a moment of silence? Thank you. Hey, y'all. A lot's been going on since the All-Star break, and we're going to talk today about my favorite topic, which also happens to be the person who I like least in the NBA, or the person I love to hate on when it comes to actual basketball, and that's LeBron James. Okay. The trade happened. It happened, y'all. And people like me think, hey, LeBron James has something to do with this. Mm-hmm. I think of him as the GM, the coach, and everything else. But with all that being said, with, people accusing him of, coaching the team, of being the GM and stuff like that, we're going to talk today about what's his legacy. What is the legacy of LeBron James? Daniel, Ashley, will one of y'all start us off?
Most definitely. I'll take that. I would like to focus on the player that LeBron James is.
Okay.
You reference how many hats you think he wears in an organization. You think he's the GM. You think he's on everything else. You think he is everything.
It would be naive not to. It would be naive not to.
He dislikes and hates on LeBron James. I actually love the player that LeBron James is.
Yeah.
So, as a player, strictly a player, all that other stuff out the window. I think that LeBron James, his legacy as it stands today, I think he will be the most versatile, just a multi-purpose, the most dominant power forward that has ever played the game. Now we've experienced many great power forwards. Here's a list. Here's just a couple: Dirk Nowitzki, Anthony Davis. If you want me to go old school, Karl Malone. That's when we were coming up. The mailman, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Charles Barkley, and that's just a few. You even got Dennis Rodman in here. I even see Magic.
Okay.
And of all those names, LeBron James, he was able to do what I have never seen before.
Yeah.
And we came up in an era where we seen some great players.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We saw the Reggie Millers of the world. We saw the Michael Jordans of the world. Again, Karl Malones of the world. We saw that. But as it relates to the power forwards, since you have to put a title on them, there's never been a player to be able to play all 5 positions.
Okay.
And defend all 5 positions.
You all right?
Now he kind of tickles with that 5,
Scotty
but
Pippen.
Scotty was a good defender. you know, and I give you credit for bringing up his name, but I don't think he can't do what LeBron James
not at the
does.
level, not at the level that LeBron James. Not at all. I'm not saying
for
that.
the time of, you know, for the length of time that LeBron James has done it.
Yeah.
So I think as it stands right now, I would call him the most multi-purpose, versatile power forward / 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point guard or whatever you want to give it to him, whatever you want to title him as, that has ever played the game as it stands right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashley, what's your take?
Let me get in here.
What's your perspective?
Yeah, he is your Walmart. He is your one-stop shop. You can get everything that you need out of him.
Okay.
But as far as his legacy goes, I don't really want to focus on the player. I guess I just want to focus on. We can focus on the player. Excellent player, dynamic. I mean, you could use all these adjectives to describe him, but I don't know. I don't really like his personality sometimes when it comes to basketball, and how his team is ran. I have to call it what I call it when I'm at home. Crybaby James.
Crybaby James.
Crybaby James is his name when I'm at home. I think starting out when he was first at the Cavs, I think that he was in his thoughts a lot. So I think that his thoughts hindered him a lot. Goes to Miami, gets his confidence, gets a ring, and that's all good. Oh, a ring or two, but when you look at him, you see his personality comes out. Like if he doesn't get a call, he doesn't get back on defense. He's down there whining and complaining to the referee that's on the other end of the court while his team is getting beat, down the court. And, sometimes you can't hide who you are in the locker room because it shows on the court. And I think that a lot of, what goes into the Cavs and what's going on with the Cavs in the past few years is him whining and complaining. When KD, went to the Warriors, like all you heard all year from LeBron was, we don't have enough. We need someone else. We need this. And
You got a point.
Think about it. All the teams that didn't have enough, nobody was complaining other than him.
But do you agree that they didn't have enough?
No, I don't agree.
Okay.
I think that if you are the LeBron James, that you are the Jordan on your team, this is the reason why this is interesting to me. Because you have Jordan with his stats and you have LeBron with his stats. What was it? 30,000 points, 8,000 assists, all this kind of stuff, which just kind of overshadows any statistics with Jordan. But the thing about it was he was able to do it with his team. You get what I'm saying? Like his stats were being able to be done with his team. He knew when to be dynamic. He knew when to pull away and be who he had to be. But he also had pieces too. LeBron, he's complained about everything, and then he gets all of these pieces put in whenever he complains about them, and he's still complaining. So when is it going to be you? Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So I think his legacy, as far as his loyalty, he's been to, well, he'll go to his fourth team after this year, I'm sure. He hasn't stayed with a team like Jordan. He hasn't stayed with a team like Kobe and done it. So his legacy is not going to just be perfect. Yeah. And it's not going to be squeaky clean.
But you don't hold that against LeBron James for switching teams and going to Miami, do you? Or, like, I personally don't like the fact that he went to Miami. I feel like he should have gone to another team because what's going on in the NBA, I do not like, today. I do not like all these super teams getting together.
I don't like it.
Kevin Durant going to the Warriors, and LeBron James stacking the Cleveland Cavaliers team with Kevin Love. Kyrie Irving was already there, and picking up, Kyle Korver, so-and-so and so-and-so, all these names. Because it reduces the parity in the league. Right. And how are you proving your worth? How are you proving what you can do if all the talent's on your team? Yeah. I remember seeing, greatness from Kevin Durant when he was going against, the Warriors. Yeah. I love that matchup. Yeah. But now, Curry's not playing, like Curry. You get to see it every now and again. Yeah. When, you need some heroics. But you don't get to see it to the same level. So, to the point, LeBron James, I don't like, that he went to Miami, but I don't hold it against him for leaving Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, do you hold it against him?
I don't hold it against him for initially leaving Cleveland.
Okay.
I think that he gave Cleveland enough time to, to try to get it right, because I mean he was a very unselfish player. I loved LeBron in that time. I mean, sometimes I would get upset with how unselfish he was. But it's like now, all of the complaining and the whining and stuff like that, like, he's going to leave Cleveland. Like, you are dismantling a team that could possibly be there, and have some longevity, but you're dismantling them and you're not even going to be there.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you're ruining the chances of what could be great there. If you leave, who knows what pieces they could get after you leave. And, but he's too busy trying to make a right now team to get a right now win when he's possibly going to win.
Yeah.
So, him leaving Miami, was an issue, because I'm like, y'all, you see he left y'all for Miami.
Yeah.
He left Miami for y'all. It's getting ready to happen to y'all. So,
it's interesting that you said, a right now team, because when you get right now teams and right now players, if LeBron James does leave, you have right now players that were built around you. And people talk about, hey, you want to understand how great LeBron James is? Well, what happens to all of his teams after he leaves?
Right.
Well, they're worse because they were built around LeBron James.
Yes, exactly.
And so you have the team that was built around LeBron James, and the key person that the team was built around isn't there.
Yeah.
There's something to that.
Yeah,
there's something to that. And you were talking about LeBron James' personality. And if we're going to talk about the greatness, or, LeBron James, the person or personality, we could talk about his philanthropy. We could talk about his activism and stuff like that. Excellent person. I love LeBron James, the person off the court. I love him off the court.
I do too.
On the court, not so much.
It's hard not to like.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about.
On the court,
he's hard not to like off the court.
Imagine, being Kyrie Irving, and constantly the narrative for Kyrie Irving is that LeBron James doesn't have any help. Kyrie Irving was on the team last year. Kevin Love was on the team, last, he was
not
playing.
have won without Kyrie.
Kyrie Irving, absolutely. But the narrative constantly, if they don't win, is Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. If they win, it's LeBron James.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Why? Because you expect win, lose, draw, especially in those losing situations. Why not? You're definitely going to put it on the leader. Why are you not going to put it on
losing
LeBron?
Situation?
In losing situations.
You don't.
If you're holding yourself first and foremost to a standard as the leader and as the great that people know you to be, why would that loss not be put on your back?
I mean, that's true. But at the same time, like, he deflects responsibility too. Okay. He keeps putting if I'm a leader, if I'm a leader, I'm gonna take it. Like, no one has to tell me whose fault it is. I'm gonna take responsibility. But now he's getting to the place of deflection. We need this, or I can't stand to hear what they need, because there are other teams in the league who need too, but they're not complaining. They're winning.
I think right now he has that more complex because he's chasing the ghost.
Yeah.
He said it himself. He's chasing the ghost. He knows that his years are numbered to be on top of his game, even though he's done it for so long. So he wants that now. And I think that's why you see the complaining and the more type coming from him, because he knows, and we know, that his good years are limited.
Yeah.
So I think any player who's chasing that ghost of MJ, they have to be in that now mode. I want it now while I'm at the top of my game. Or else those opportunities to match or even tie, which Kobe didn't even do, are minimized. So that's why I think he's feeling like he's feeling.
I'm glad you mentioned Kobe Bryant, because when I think about LeBron James' career and we're talking about his legacy, LeBron James has to be on somebody's Mount Rushmore. He has to be on everybody's Mount Rushmore. Like you all were talking about, his versatility, his dominance. Like, if you want to talk about dominance, I haven't seen anybody this dominant since Shaquille O'Neal. And because, you know, he's 6'8", 260, 270, that big, when he goes to the lane, everybody's moving out. I don't want no part of it because it's like Jerome Bettis back in the day. The bus coming through. The bus is about to drive through there, y'all. And so you have this person who is more athletic than any person who has played the game, has the size and everything like that. LeBron James' potential, his potential is higher than, in my opinion, higher than any other player's potential that has ever played the game. The ceiling for LeBron James was that high. And because it was so high, this guy, I feel like he's come up short with where he's at this juncture.
Okay.
With 3 championships out of 8, I think he's come up short.
Yeah.
And I say that because I think about Kobe Bryant's, you know, career, and we're not even going to address the 3 championships he won with Shaq. I'm gonna leave that alone. But I'm gonna talk about the 2 he won with Paul Gasol as his second best player. Paul Gasol, is he a Hall of Famer? I think that's up for debate, but I think he'll get in because, you know, in the NBA a lot of players get in, but it's up for debate. It's bona fide that Dwayne Wade's getting in there. Chris Bosh was en route with his statistics to become a Hall of Famer.
He was also face of an organization at one point. So
absolutely, definitely, you know, a great player. And LeBron James has had a lot of talent, and he only has 3 championships. And I feel like, you know, champions win. And, you know, you believed, the thing that got you about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan is that you believe that they were going to come through in the end. You had confidence in their leadership. They held people accountable. And I don't feel like LeBron James, you have that confidence in LeBron James that he's going to get it done at those moments. He's going to give your team the best chance to win. He's going to put you in a great, you know, point. He's like, you know, 3/4 out of that game. You're like, yo, I'm riding those coattails all day long. And that's what LeBron James is great for. But as far as winning championships, you know,
you feel he's come up short?
I feel like he's come up very short, and I feel like he should have more. I feel like, you know, people don't really hold him accountable for that. But, you know, and I feel like last year when they had when they scored 86 points in the 4th game of that finals against the Warriors, they scored 86 points in a half. That was showing you that team had a lot of offensive power, and that was showing you their potential. But I feel like with LeBron James' style of play, that he actually limits the team's, you know, abilities. People always talk about, hey, LeBron James makes his teammates better. And personally, I agree that he gives his team the best chance to win, or he makes his team, you know, better in that respect. But as far as making individual statistics increase, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. So I got a question for y'all. Does LeBron James make his teammates better? Because that's a narrative that you always hear.
I think LeBron James does. I would like to think as a leader, when you hold yourself to a high standard, people see that.
Okay.
And for that reason, I think when people see that,
I'm glad he said that.
They want to mirror that. And any player who wants to improve, I think every one of them has had an influence. Every one of them have looked at somebody. You know, they've been chasing somebody. I mean, you have to. So because he's been that leader, because he's held himself to such a high standard, you know, I feel like it's just rubbed off. And I think it is spread on his teammates. There's no way, besides him being in the East, there's no way in 2007 he took that team to the finals. A lot of people say there was nobody else. There was nobody else in the East. But look who we had. Vergel, Bell, Snow. Oh, come on. You know what I'm saying? But some people may say, oh, they were actually okay players. You know, this person he could shoot it. No, come on now. Nobody else would want to take that team to the finals against anybody. But That's why I feel that way.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say his previous team before this team.
Are you talking about the Cavs or Miami Heat?
Cavs. He's literally had 2 teams this year. I would say that it depends on who his teammates are. You know, are they teammates who are impressionable? You know, these young guys that he has right now, yes, he's making them better. You know, when you saw that game against Boston, you could just see him, you know, just kind of encouraging them when they made bad shots. They never let go. You know, it could have been like, oh, when they made bad shots, they just kind of like plummeted, but he kept them encouraged. There was no way. When they announced the first team of this year, I just said that was the dumbest thing that they could have done, because they brought all franchise players to this organization with a franchise player. Like, nobody's going to bow. Like, especially not Isaiah Thomas. He wasn't. I mean, like, he was used to being, like, the one who everybody depended on. So, if you have, like, a Derrick Rose, Isaiah Thomas, a Dwayne Wade, which Dwayne Wade was just there to be with his friends. I don't care what anybody says.
They just wanted to chop it up.
They just wanted to kick it. You know, they just wanted to kick it for a little while. And he was just like, okay, man, I'm ready to go home. Yeah. So, you know, no, he was not going to make them better, because they were franchise players who were at their best, basically, except for Derrick Rose, of course. But, you know, he has to have people who are willing to glean from him.
So you're saying that, you know, because, you know, they play during the Olympics. Yeah. LeBron James has played with a lot of those players, and they are successful in the Olympics, but, you know, those other teams are also blending teams and players as well. So you're saying that LeBron James can't, you know, be the leader of a team like that?
No, he can, but when you said, can he make his teammates better? They were already good. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was nothing to learn from LeBron. Yeah. And, you know, pretty much, you're looking at Dwayne Wade, who I already have a ring. Isaiah Thomas, we were number 1 in the East, basically, you know, last year. Derrick Rose, I mean, when he's healthy, he's really, really good. So, you know, you have to have people who are wanting to learn from him, who idolize him almost, for them to be made better. I mean, you're looking at guys who are pretty much like, I mean, I was franchised, so what am I getting ready to learn from you? You know.
I agree with that.
I see what you're saying, and I absolutely agree that LeBron James does, you know, mask a lot of the deficiencies of those lesser players. But I think it's something to be said about a, you know, the player who can't play with, you know, those other stars, because he's made those championships of, you know, from bringing together other superstars. When he was in Miami, he brought Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. They came together. In Cleveland, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and so, you know, that's 3 championships. But those players, you could say that attracting a lot of attention, you know, where they're trying to double team me, that takes the pressure off of you, makes your shots easier, you're shooting a higher percentage. And so in that respect, in that regard, I can kind of see, hey, you know, you did make the players better, but a lot of times the statistics, Chris Bosh, you know, Dwayne Wade, are going to decrease. But my question is this, like, why does LeBron James's statistics rarely decrease, you know, regardless of who he has around him? Like, if he gets another great player, LeBron James's statistics are going to stay the same. And if he gets, you know, a lesser player, LeBron James' statistics are going to stay the same. And that boggles my mind a lot of times. It's like, how are your numbers and everything staying the same? I know with the Warriors, they're going to get less shots, but they're going to be more efficient, and their numbers might decrease, you know, a little bit, you know, sometimes. But with LeBron James, it just seems like he's a consistent, you know, close to triple-double type, you know, threat. I don't understand that. Could y'all please explain that?
I mean, I think it's because, like when you mentioned the Warriors, I mean, they're pretty much doing it as a team. Everyone gets their opportunity, basically. And the reason why I do like that combination, even with KD going where he went and nobody really agreed with it, is because everybody was willing to work together.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you have those nights when either you're playing the Cavs or you're playing the LeBrons. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So it just depends. And he's the only one who has more to lose. Like you said, he's chasing the ghost. So he's not getting ready to let that fall. No, I don't care if we lose tonight. I'm not losing. You get what I'm saying? Like it's LeBron has that mentality that, you know, he has to be the best of this era. Like, it's no way that I'm going to let this loss tonight affect my stats. I don't care how good of a teammate he may be. You know, he's still focused on what he has to accomplish in this era as the best player. You know what I'm saying? So he's too hungry to allow that to happen.
Are you accusing him of stat chasing?
I'm not necessarily stat chasing, but he's definitely Jordan chasing. I don't care what anybody says.
Are you talking about championship chasing or statistics? Because
I mean, statistics. Let me tell you why. Because that's pretty much what he keeps saying. You know, you've never seen another player like me. I mean, you know, the stats. He's basically busting numbers on Jordan right now. So that's the only way I can make Jordan look bad. That's the only way I can look better than Jordan, because I don't have the rings like Jordan does. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't have the longevity with one team like Jordan does. So the only way I can get him is to play more minutes, which is going to give me more stats. You get what I'm saying? And which they need him to play more minutes, but you know, he has to beat Jordan some kind of way. If he can't beat him with the rings, how is he going to beat him? Stats.
I think that LeBron James, his game, his ego, his personality, all of that is very demanding.
Yeah, it is.
And I mean, of the ball in his hands. You know, LeBron James, he needs that. If he doesn't have the ball, I really don't feel like, in my mind, he's going to play a full game. I just don't see that happening.
I agree.
Being
but
a fan,
is that beneficial to his teammates? Because he brings a lot of different players around, and LeBron James is best when he has just pure three-point shooters around him, or people who have just pure outside shots, because his game is penetrate, dish. And if LeBron James is holding the ball and has a high usage rate, that doesn't really bode well for the other players who like to have the ball a little bit more. You spread that ball around. If I haven't touched the ball in, you know, a couple minutes, I'm kind of getting cold over here. You know,
it's kind of chilly. Was.
And y'all were talking about, you know, LeBron James and, you know, the leadership a little bit, you know, of that team. And I'd like to address that, because LeBron James, when he had that team, I felt like the ceiling for those all the stars at the beginning of this season was higher for that team than the ceiling is for, you know, the team with George Hill, Rodney Hood. And I feel like the ceiling, they just took it off and lowered it. And the potential is a lot lower. You had a higher potential, but I don't feel like they were willing to do what it took to bring that team together. And Isaiah Thomas was talking about not how they didn't practice.
That's awful.
And if you want to talk about leadership, you do what it takes to accomplish your goal, regardless if it's comfortable or not. Hey, you're old. I don't care. I want to win. I'm going to practice. Whatever it takes to bring your team together. And I don't feel like they were willing to do that.
He's not a servant leader.
So, hey man, Michael Jordan was punching people in the face. You know, I'm not saying take it there, but if somebody needs to be punched, man, I'm wilder than somebody. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, the league was so different then. You know, they weren't soft. They were taking hard fouls. You know, this whining and complaining and stuff like that. But you know, like the whole leadership aspect. You know, what did he expect when he brought all leaders to his team? Like did anybody sit down and say, okay, we're all willing to agree to basically follow your leadership, LeBron? Like, no, it's no way. Maybe they thought that it was possible. Maybe someone had like a come to Jesus moment where they were just like, you know, I'm going to be humble this year. No, because when you got on the court and you saw how everything was working, evidently something went wrong. You know, I don't think, number one, that wasn't necessarily IT's desire to be on that team to begin with. So, you know, he wasn't coming there in agreement to bow down to anybody anyway. You know, he was coming there to buck the system, to be who he is anyway.
But I felt like through challenge, through wrestling with each other in practice, you establish a role. Like, you know, if you're not practicing much with, they admittedly did not practice, you know, often, you don't really have the time to, you know, understand your role on the team and what, you know, is expected of you. You can say, sure, they're professionals, they've been in the league, they're veterans, but this is a new team. And people are always talking about you're going to need a whole season to come.
I love his tenacity, like when they won the championship. When he went down and blocked. Was it Iguodala? Yeah, Iguodala. He went down, and I mean, just it's almost like if I'm on a fast break, I would be somewhere between nervous and like confident because I know that there's a possibility that when I let this ball go, it's about to get pinned on the backboard.
Oh yeah.
I love that about him. I love his drive. I love, you know, the way when he gets the ball, he's going from one point of the court to the next. I mean, you know, I love that style of play that he has. I also love his assist game. Unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, of course, from a true point guard.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing that you could say, you know, where he probably will fall short. But I mean, for him to be the type of player that he is, as dominant as he is with shots, like to see how he could find other players, I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, he's awesome.
For him to be a non-guard, he ranks at the top.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And he's actually 12th. He's 12th all time on that assist list for any player, guard or non-guard. So
I mean,
that just speaks of his game.
That speaks volumes. That speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Now, we've said a lot about LeBron James and his legacy and, you know, who we think he is as a person, his personality. We touched on a lot of different facets. I'd like to kind of, you know, each one of us take a second to kind of summarize, you know, just summarize what your perspective is on LeBron James.
My perspective is multi-purpose, just a versatile, dominant player that can play and defend both sides of the court, front court, back court. That's my summary.
Okay. Ashley?
He's an excellent person off the court. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You don't know, you know, which year, you know, what you're gonna get, but he's an excellent player. He will go down as one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player of our era. You know, that has ever done it. We've never seen anyone do it the way that he does. But I mean, he's not going to have the respect that from me, as far as, you know, what I've seen the greatest do with what they had. You know, I think that makes you a great person and a great player when you're able to do what you have. And I mean, he's gonna go to where he can win, you know, or put together what he can. But I mean, he's LeBron. He's gonna be an adjective.
Okay. For me, LeBron James, the philanthropist.
Yeah.
LeBron James, the businessman.
Yeah.
LeBron James, the activist.
Yeah.
LeBron James. Like, awesome player, definitely Mount Rushmore. And like you, LeBron James just won't get the respect that I feel like, you know, other people think he should have. And like I said, Mount Rushmore, there's only 4 places for him, so he's definitely up there. But I just feel like I expected more from LeBron James. He had the potential to achieve, and he came up a little bit short for me at this juncture. Okay. There's still room for him, and he's still playing. And that's my perspective. That's our perspective. We want your perspective. And before we leave, we want to give Ashley a chance to, you know, put a little plug in.
Yeah, so I have to wait. So, There's something called Jesus Couture that I
Jesus Couture.
You know, I'm promoting, and basically I make shirts that I don't know, it's just however I feel. Either it's just short bits of scripture or just slogans, what I like to represent as far as like how I like to serve him. So Jesus Couture, you could find me at aparks0707@gmail.com if you're interested.
All right. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
Enjoyed you.
Thank you.
That was our perspective. We want your perspective. This is Bitch Perspective.
Spirit, my win on escrow. He took my shack and gave me matches, that's a quid pro quo. It's the status he splattered his blood for.